There was a time loneliness sounded like silence. A quiet room, an empty street, a long walk home with nobody waiting for you. Now loneliness sounds different. Now it sounds like notifications, voice notes, comment sections, podcasts, advice videos, relationship discourse, algorithms whispering into people's ears at 2 o'clock in the morning.
All women are the same.
Men only want one thing.
Where are all the good men?
Where have all the good women gone?
And somewhere inside all that noise, millions of lonely people are being taught to fear each other instead of understand each other. Not because it heals them, but because outrage keeps us online. Because lonely people scroll longer. And somewhere along the line, the algorithm learned our loneliness. Now, before we continue, this is not me pretending that harmful people do not exist. They do. Some people manipulate, some people abuse, some people betray trust, some people genuinely hurt others. This is not about excusing the bad apples. It is about remembering we are all still standing in the same orchard. We're living in the most connected period in human history. We can speak to anyone instantly, watch anything instantly, know what a stranger ate for breakfast from the other side of the planet. And yet, despite all that, people are lonelier than ever. In the UK, around 1 in 4 adults report feeling lonely at least some of the time. 1 in 4. Think about that. Look around the next time you're in a shop, or sat on a train, or walking through a town. Statistically, 1 out of every 4 people around you might feel emotionally disconnected from the world around them. And what's strange is, we built all of this technology believing it would bring us closer together. But study after study now shows something darker. The more time many people spend online, especially on social media, the more isolated they often begin to feel. Not because technology itself is evil, but because technology optimizes for attention, not peace. The algorithm doesn't ask, is this healthy for you? It asks, will this keep you engaged? And anger, fear, insecurity, loneliness are incredibly engaging emotions. The algorithm isn't evil, it's hungry. And loneliness became one of the easiest emotions to feed. Think about how modern social media actually works. You watch one breakup video, then another, then another. A man saying women are manipulative, or a woman saying that men are emotionally unavailable. A podcast clipping human connection into battle lines. A creator turning a heartbreak into a business model. And slowly, your reality starts changing. Not because you consciously chose hatred, but because repetition changes perception. Especially when you're vulnerable. Especially when you're hurting. Especially when you're alone, at midnight, scrolling through people who seem happier, or more attractive, or more loved, more desired than you feel. And the terrifying thing is, the algorithm learns exactly what keeps you emotionally activated. Not healed, activated. Because activated people engage. Activated people comment. Activated people stay online. And now we're beginning to see the consequences. A recent study from King's College London found that Gen Z men and women are becoming more divided on gender equality and social issues than any previous generation. Young men and young women are increasingly growing up inside completely different digital realities, different fears, different role models, different narratives, different versions of the opposite sex. And while those experiences are not identical, the emotional distance between people keeps growing. And maybe that's why conversations online feel less like conversations now, and more like wars. Not because most people want division, but because division is profitable. Because wounded people are easier to manipulate than fulfilled people. A lonely person searching for connection is easier to radicalize than a fulfilled person surrounded by genuine community. And social media figured that out before society did. Dating changed too. Love changed. Or at least the way we experience it changed. Dating apps turned attraction into a slot machine. Swipe, reject, swipe, reject, swipe, validation, swipe again. And after enough repetition, people stopped feeling like people. They started feeling like profiles, options, statistics, entertainment. A recent survey found that most dating app users now report burnout, exhaustion, distrust, emotional fatigue. And honestly, can you blame them? Somewhere along the line, love stopped feeling sacred. It became optimization, performance, status, red flags, green flags, high value, low value. People stopped meeting each other and started reviewing each other. Because somewhere along the line, the internet learned how to monetize emotional disconnection. Not heal it, not resolve it, monetize it. The more insecure people became, the more content they consumed. The more disconnected people became, the more validation they searched for. And the more afraid people became of each other, the longer they just stayed online. And maybe the saddest part of all this is that I don't actually think most people hate each other. I think a lot of people are exhausted, maybe rejected, maybe feeling invisible. I think a lot of people want connection, but are terrified of vulnerability, terrified of rejection, terrified of humiliation, terrified of giving their heart to someone who learned intimacy through short-form content. And so instead of reaching toward each other, we retreat further into algorithms that validate the pain. Because pain feels safer when it's shared, even if it keeps us stuck. And maybe that's the real tragedy of the internet. Not that it connected us to strangers, but that it slowly disconnected us from each other. Because the more afraid we become of one another, the more profitable we become. Fear keeps people scrolling. Loneliness keeps people consuming. Division keeps people engaged. And engagement is the currency of the modern internet. But despite all of this, I still don't believe human beings were built to hate each other this deeply. I think most people still want the same thing: to feel chosen, to feel safe, to feel understood, to feel like someone sees them beyond performance, beyond algorithms, beyond avatars and opinions and bios and dating profiles, just human. And maybe the scariest thing isn't that the algorithm learned what we hate. Maybe it learned what we longed for: connection, understanding, reassurance, love. And instead of helping us find it, it learned how to keep us searching for it. Because lonely people click longer. But I believe in you. You've got this. And I'll catch you around. With love, from Samuel.